Nicki Minaj. I don't know. Nicki Minaj decided that this lead that they put on top of this bottle, Nicki Minaj said, I'm opening it. Nicki Minaj said, I'm done. In fact, let out the genie in the bottle. That is where Nicki Minaj is right now. So hello. Hello, how are you there? Hello people, are you there? You guys, listen, my happiness is contagious. Please be happy with me. Oh, are you there? I'm mimicking. There's a Nigerian comedian and content creator we call Daddywa. And I always listen to when he says, are you there? Are you all there, my people? How are you? Gosh. Right. Well, very small thing. This video I would not have made it today, but God passed them. The enemies and the elements at work could not. Please ask me what the elements at work is, guys. I'm in pain. I'm in severe pains. I went to the gym. Oh my God, my legs are on fire. And because of that, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to deliver anything today. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to skip the gym today. And for you guys, so how are you all doing today? If you've never met me before, if you've never seen me before, my name is Chinyere of GSG, Gillette Style Glam. And if this is your first time here, thank you so much for being here. And if you're already subscribed, welcome to the family. I noticed that we have some new members, so you're very welcome. Thank you for being here. What's up? Okay, so today we're still going to be talking about P.Diddy. Now, you see, sometimes, today particularly for me, right, I realize that most times, and I think many of us are guilty or have been guilty about this, and, going about on false defense or something, right? So today we're going to be talking about a couple of things. Now, first of all, we are hearing that CEOs have quit. Please, people should ask them, why are they quitting? Why are they coming? Why are they stepping down? We heard that Nike CEO has left. Thank you. We heard a couple of others have gone. And, they have not told us anything. They just said, it's time for them to go, So thank you for serving us well. We also learned once again that Diddy was denied bail. And I'm going to talk about that because a couple of things came up. And I was hearing a lot of things concerning why he's being charged. That is there anything wrong with someone having, freak offs or having a particular sexual preference or whatever. We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to leave certain links for you to also do a little bit of digging on your own. We're going to go into that. We're going to delve into that. We're also going to talk about the fact that Nicki Minaj, I don't know, Nicki Minaj decided that this lead that they put on top of this bottle, Nicki Minaj said, I'm opening it. Nicki Minaj said, I'm done. In fact, let out the genie in the bottle. That is where Nicki Minaj is right now. Nicki Minaj is telling us that, listen, this genie in the bottle is gonna show, is gonna come out. Like, what? Okay, so I want to get into the serious stuff, right? So Diddy was denied bail, once again, and his lawyer, what's that dude's name again? The guy has I think he's Italian. Please just give me a second. Let me find the Amebo story where it is. You guys, justice is sweet when justice is coming, when justice is meted out. I'm sorry, it's the truth. Justice is sweet when justice is served. If justice is not served, people suffer, right? Right. So we're going to get to that story. Mac Agnifilio. Sorry, Mac. So Mac Agnifilio says that Diddy, his lawyer is saying that, there is no reason for Diddy to be there. He gave a couple of reasons, and I love the judge who is handling this case because, baby, I went and did some small aproko. Let me drink water. do your whole workout, exercise, and mind your business. But this aproko is sweet. If you don't know, aproko means, what I mean is doing research. So I went to do some aproko, and this is what this is what the lawyer, the New York federal judge remanded musician into custody. So I'm reading from, I'm going to put it here, on Tuesday, after prosecutors argued that he was a serious flight risk. Now, he was arrested this week and for running a criminal enterprise. And I'm going to break it all down. And then Mr. Combs, that's P.Diddy and Love and Puff Daddy, or whatever he calls himself these days, proposed a bail package of 50 million. Now, you see, like every parent, when your kids do something willingly that generally they don't do, or generally it's always like, there's always something behind it. How do you propose 50 million to a judge? As I heard, that usually bail is usually set around the tune of 2 million, and you pay 10% of that, or maybe 5. But you offered 50 million, offered passports, offered kiniko, offered mantami morocco, and then you thought that the judge was going to bite. Like, seriously, what? You thought she was going to bite? Come on now, come on. That is rule 101. You don't do that. You don't start offering all those things when you know that it's suspicious behavior, and for good cause, right? Now, it says that the judge, hearing Wednesday's arguments, did not agree to the proposal. And she says, my bigger concern deals with the danger of obstruction of justice and the danger of witness tampering. Judge Andrew Carter said that is a real concern that I have here, which is true. If you remember in the previous video I made, if you haven't watched it, I'm going to put it here. If you remember in the previous video I made, I said that it was also found out that Diddy had going to meet some witnesses that had been subpoenaed and was trying to cajole them and convince them to talk about the fact that to say that what they did was consensual. Now, what is quite alarming in all of that is the fact that the so-called consensual had him calling and messaging over the calls. They had calls of 154 and messages of 54 text messages. If that does not scream desperation, please tell me what else. And then I also agree with the judge on the premise that if he is doing this now, where he hadn't even come in yet, and he's already contacting subpoenaed witnesses, right? So yes, it's tantamount to obstruction of justice, because what he's looking for is a situation where he can go out and get his story straight across board. Because we all know, guys, we all know that celebrities are great amongst. We have people that on our list. We know them. Stevie J, how far? So we know that is it, because I mean, when you want to do something and you want to do it well, what you make sure that is that the story is the same. Everyone is saying the same story. And once that is done, then it's backed. Now, one thing again that is quite surprising, and I would say for me is good news, is the fact that the judge kept referred to Cassie's video. And if that is not a blessing in disguise, tell me what else is. Because if you recall, when I did the first video on this case, or live, I'm not sure which one, I said that putting a statute of limitations on domestic violence, in my opinion, is BS. Because you do not tell the victims when to heal. You do not let the victims know when to survive. You don't do that. DV has claimed people's lives. He has done unthinkable things to families, to generations. And then you put a statute of limitations for 3 years. But I love Cassie, because Cassie has very smart lawyers. You know why? Because those lawyers were not actually gunning for the video. Now it makes sense to my brain. The lawyers were not gunning for the content of the video. The lawyers were gunning for the fact that she was forced, coerced, dragged, because if you listen to the other video, They all came up in that video. The reasons why he was being held: sex trafficking. And I'm going to give you TT on that thing because the lawyer dug himself into a hole. I'm coming. Anyway, so after the ruling, Mr. Combs' lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, told, if I'm not wrong, it should be Agnifilo because it's, in French, GN is pronounced twice. So it's Agnifilo. If I'm not wrong, told reporters the ruling did not go our way, adding the fight continues. A 14-page indictment charges Mr. Combs with racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and transportation to engage in prostitution. And this was where the lawyer shot himself in the foot, because rather than arguing on probably Diddy's mental health or something else, he actually went to the fact that he said he spoke with the agency, right? For the sex trafficking, sex workers, and the agency said yes, that the sex workers had a right to do what they wanted to do. In the laws or concerning sex trafficking, please allow me to read it to you. It says, sex trafficking is excising the rights of ownership of another person, slavery, servitude, and forced labor. Servitude, imposition, coercion of an obligation to a person. It was sex trafficking. You see, I realize that as individuals, many of us, when it comes to the law, right, many of us are ignorant. Forget. Many of us are. And that while he was doing this thing, somewhere in P.Diddy's mind, he was like, I'm going to get away with it. Do you know who I am? I'm going to get away with it. In his mind. Or in his mind, he wasn't thinking that far. He wasn't thinking that he was actually committing a crime. In his mind, P.Diddy was actually thinking, I'm having fun. P.Diddy was actually thinking, they're getting paid. Yeah. In his mind, they are getting paid. In his mind, he felt like they were doing what they wanted to do, and it was consensual in his mind. But the laws governing sex trafficking go deeper than that. We're going to talk about that. And so the lawyer dug himself deep by making that statement. And then the judge asked him, but then isn't that sex trafficking in and of itself? And boom, mic drops. No arguments. I like the lawyer. I like the judge. Now, asked by US, if convicted on all three counts, the rapper, and record producer faces a sentence of 15 years up to life in prison. Now, asked by the U.S. Magistrate Judge Robin Tarnowski on Tuesday how he wished to plead, Mr. Combs still is pleading not guilty. Ogbeni, just plead guilty and face the music. Let everybody just come out and go their separate way. I don't know why you're busy doing not guilty. Not guilty into what? When we saw you on live video, plus the fact that you actually made an apology video. Watch. Yes, so that is him. He's the one that said it to that time I was in a dark place. Blah, 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 blah. Now, you guys, while we're talking about this, there is something I want to bring all your attention to. Have you noticed, with constant use of, substances, over time, it begins to tell on your physique, especially on your face. You become bloated, you look funny. Have you noticed that? And then this is what I noticed. I may be wrong. You notice that they kind of look like they don't even brush their teeth. And it was something I noticed a lot with P. Diddy over time. He looked bloated. I didn't think he was adding weight. I felt he was bloated. I felt that he looked unkempt a lot, And I'm like, Uncle, what's wrong with you? Ashe, we did not know that Ogbeni is using something. Ashe, we did not know that even up until 2024, Ogbeni is still doing freak off. as, as Odogu that he is, he's still doing freak off. So I just said, let me bring that one to you people. Anyway, Mr. Anyefilo said afterwards that the musicians' defense team already had launched an appeal of the judge's bill. That was the first one. According to court documents, Mr. Combs wielded the power. I'm going to underline that. Wielded the power of his status to lure female victims to engage in extended sex acts called freak-offs. Right? During freak-offs, Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant. Now, I'm going to put the link here. You can read it later, but I just want to go to the very serious thing. So we also hear that some celebrities, aka Faizon Love, was saying that people are asking, but is it a crime? I even actually saw it on TikTok. Like, is it a crime for someone to have a preference, in their lifestyle, blah, 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 blah. And so that is when I decided, okay, let me do some research on what is termed sex trafficking. Remember, they talked about wielded the power. Now, a lot of people do not know. I'm Nigerian, and if you ever heard the story of one of Nigerian senators, Ekweremadu, who is in jail cooling off in the UK because of human trafficking, apparently he was organ harvesting. Now, he was guilty on all charges, on all counts. I have a copy of the law on human trafficking. I'm going to attach it to this video. Please take your time to go through it and read, because I realize that Nigeria is, a lot of people know what Nigeria is like. Many of them who have money are not actually in tune with what the law is, because they'll just believe, well, they have lawyers. The lawyers are going to be the ones to worry about those things. And one of the things that was cited in that case was wielding the power. And when you say wielding the power, a lot of people do not understand. Most times, most of these laws on trafficking fall to find the people who actually hold the money guilty. It's not about the person who doesn't have. It's about you who has. You are the person who is guilty. So when you are transporting babes and okuri from Los Angeles to Nigeria, abi from Kini to Kinikon, when you are doing all that thing, right, what you're doing basically is human trafficking. Now, this is when it gets more serious. It gets more serious when there is an exchange. Yep, when money actually exchanges hands. And then that is when you are in. Because at the end of the day, you are the one who has the power. Wielding your power is that because you are the one who's got it. You're the one who has the money. So you can afford it. Because that's the pyramid. The pyramid looks at those who are the top, exploiting those at the bottom. Because let me tell you, anybody that you see there that is supposed to be, a sex worker or something, or SW, is not doing it because is wonderful for them. It's because there is a situation, there is a need that they are trying to fulfill. And so when you come there and tell them how much you can fulfill that need for them, termed as coercion is also the word used in sex trafficking or human trafficking. And when you are willing to satisfy that need and cater to that need, it is trafficking. So let me read it. I'm going to just write a few, and I'm going to leave the link so that you can actually read all the things you need to know. There are different sections, and each of these sections is being broken down. And so it says, what is sex trafficking? Sex trafficking is slavery, servitude, forced or compulsory labor. Now, slavery is termed as exercising the right of ownership of another person. Cassie. Servitude means imposition, coercion of an obligation a service provides. Cassie. Forced labor is a direct compulsion to work for another. So you see that in every way, Cassie ticked all the boxes. So at the end of the day, it's not about that video, right? It's about what happened there. Cassie was fleeing. You see, the lawyer, Cassie's lawyer, the person, however that video got out, God will bless you, because every step of the way, what Cassie is taking Diddy to court for on her person is sex trafficking. The DV, the statute of limitations has taken care of it. And now I understand why the lawyer said what he said when he said that very soon there will be no laughter anymore. I'm going to look for it and put it here. The lawyer did say that. So you see that we saw the video of this lady fleeing, and she was chased down by P.Diddy. And not just chased down, she was dragged, she was kicked, she was all of those things. We all saw the video. That video made the tour of the world. And what did the charges against him carry? Kicking, dragging, blah, 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 blah. Okay, right. And then they break it down more. Compulsory labor. And indirect, then compulsory labor says indirect compulsion to work for another. You see how it goes. An indirect compulsion. So there is both a direct, which is the first one, and then the indirect one, right? And says in both cases, compulsion means the work is not offered voluntarily. Did Cassie offer herself voluntarily? No. Faizon Love, please listen. She did not. Did the sex workers whom he hired, whatever, did they offer themselves voluntarily to be abused with substances? Answer. We know that is because we even hear that there's one sex worker who has come out to talk, and that others are actually coming out right now. There are others who are speaking out. So you see that when the judge says he's not going nowhere, it was actually on purpose. It's because they didn't need people to run away. They wanted people to actually be able to come out, right, and testify. Because if Diddy had been granted bail, many of the witnesses will not appear anymore. They'll go. Do you see it? Many of them, out of fear and whatever, will now be forced to stay put. I hope my microphone is well placed, because, well, it's always hot on my body. Now, we now go further, and in the chapter 3 of sex trafficking laws, it highlights violence. Did we see violence or not? Thank you, my brothers and sisters. We saw the violence, did we not? Now the judge makes reference to that. So, is P.Diddy coming out? No, he's not coming out. He's not getting out of jail. No, he's going to be there. And the judge means it. And that judge is someone who my mind tells me that judge understands the assignment. He knows what is going on, and he understands how wealthy people can actually get away with stuff. I think the judge knows that, if you don't handle it correctly, right? Now, it also talks about the section 2, transportation. Hey, please, I want to put this thing well. You people, now, Faizon Love, are you listening? Are you listening? Hello? Hello? Are you listening, Faizon Love? Transportation. Did P.Diddy transport people from one place to another? Yes. He talks about transfer. Did he transfer them from one place to another? Yes, he did. You see, this is where you now begin to break it down, because again, I think a lot of people do not just take their time to actually understand these things, right? So let me help. He did, right? And then talks about harboring or receipt of persons by means of a threat or use of force or other forms of coercion, abduction, of fraud, of deception, of abuse of power. Do you remember? We talked about wielding power. Good. So you see how it's all tied in. Human trafficking and sex trafficking is a serious crime because everything that it's involved in is tied to the other. You cannot say you are innocent when you are the one who said you are the one who brings in the person. You can't say that. You see how it works. You can't say you're innocent when you are the one who has the means and the wherewithal to do that. You can't, right? You see how it gets murky, right? Good. Now it talks about the vulnerability and the abuse of power of a position of vulnerability or of the giving or receiving payments. You know, in the beginning I talked about money. Once money exchanges hands, it's game over. Knockouts. Everything is finished. And we all know that happened. Or benefits to achieve the consent of a person having control of another person for the purpose of exploitation. And it goes on and on and on and on. So Faizon Love and all the other people who have been talking about, they don't understand. How is his life? Now you understand it. It's not about that. It's not about P.Diddy's habits. It's not about his perverse mind or his perversion or his sexual preferences. It's not about that. If you go through the charges, it makes no allusion to whatever he is that he does. But what it's talking about is the fact that the terms and the methods he uses to get victims. Is it clear now, Faizon Love? Stevie J, how far? Okay, right. So, yeah. So we've finished all on that. And then we also hear Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj gets into the chat room. Oh my God. Now, apparently, Nicki Minaj has had issues with P.Diddy for a while, right? And she engaged in various rants against Jay-Z. So it was against Jay-Z and a company over the past 2 weeks or so, right? And so this is amidst the, P.Diddy's legal scandal. And she says, I love knowing you're always thinking about me. Nicki Minaj shaded to a mystery target to start things off on Saturday afternoon Eastern time. I'm such a tease. The morning of every show you pop up trying to taste my pee. But no, but no, you may not. Ugly. Afterwards, she went into alleged details of a Tidal fallout. Now, if we all know Tidal was owned by Jay-Z, I had to sign an agreement in 24 hours if I wanted the IMM or the offer was off the table. Listen to the end of the tractions for what my response was. And then she puts up different posts. That's why I tell these people to leave me alone. But no, they'd rather play. So let's play Gag City, Los Angeles tonight and tomorrow night. And she says, Nikki, you finna get us barbs starting. And once we start, boom. And then, of course, she goes on and on. So she says, so Babs, thank you for supporting something I was a part of. Nicki Minaj continued on that tweet, I love you, but I was scammed and offered $1 million to be silenced. I declined. And she says, I don't need their hush money. Gag City, Los Angeles tonight and tomorrow night. My documentary was also LOL word. She responded to a Shade Room report of Tidal Partners payouts. One of the blogs that they are reportedly having lots of control of. Why is my photo there? Oh, reportedly, huh? LOL, y'all, I'm really laughing at how people who aren't really smart always believe they are outsmarting smart people. No, it's just that we know karma spins. It really spins. Every day, a new man pushing 60 years of age gets fingered in the BUSSY, then made to come on this internet and lie on me, Nikki added. And then she gives us more tweets. Undercover men are always aggravated with women because they have decided that they can't live in their truth. Therefore, women who have done nothing wrong to them are made to pay for simply existing. Fix it, Jesus. Enough is enough. And she says, Gag City, blah, blah, blah. Dear Short and Stouts, D-I-K, Laffy, Taffy, Alien, D-I-K, Breath, S-A-S. We want to know if you are present during a... That's what we want to know. You can't taste my Passoir. Stop. Aliyah, Foxy, etc. during R. Kelly videos, shoots and stuff. Did you know about the abuse too? And I'm going to put everything here. So we see that Nicki Minaj, and which is again another thing I'm going to say, the Hollywood sphere is silent. Very silent. I also want to say something I noticed. How is it that Kevin Hart is always found in the middle of every celebrity shenanigans? How? You see, I understand him being the cool guy, the nice guy, the funny guy. I understand that. But I remember when I was in university, I was struggling with something. I was struggling with my person, myself. And I remember someone told me, and this same person that told me what he told me actually was horrible at the end to me. And he told me something. He said, he who has many friends has no friends. So I just want to ask Kevin Hart, who's your friend? And on this note, guys, this is where this video is going to end. Do not fail to like, do not fail to share, do not fail to subscribe, comment, leave your comments in the comment section below. I'm going to read them. I'm going to respond as much as I can. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.